council was made up of 5 ministries. Each ministry had their own logo and distinctive color scheme. From the color of his uniform, it was clear that Graham worked for the Ministry of Comfort. I had learned all I was going to from Graham's apartment. I hoped it would be enough. So Graham was a cleaning supervisor? If I could get the window open, I'd be able to reach that box. If I was going to convince the mentor, I had to be sure I knew enough about Graham. I couldn't keep them waiting any longer. From that point on, I had to be Graham Grundy, cleaning supervisor.
Darling, I thought you were going to freshen up.
I was, but I missed the sweet sound of your voice.
Oh, Graham, always the romantic. But please don't kiss me until you've showered.
Wouldn't dream of it. Besides, I couldn't let Alfonso here.
Alonso?
Monopolize my lovely wife for a moment longer.
In which case, shall we begin?
Of course. Shall we take a seat in the lounge? It was now or never.
So, Mr. Grundy.
Mentor Alonso, what would you like to know?
Ah, well, straight to the point. I like that. As I was explaining to your dear wife earlier, there have been some issues with your activity records of late.
Issues? What do you mean?
Mr. Grundy, a word to the wise. This will be much smoother if you leave the questions to me. Now, whilst your records load, remind me, in which ministry are you employed?
Comfort. I'm a cleaning supervisor.
Yes, of course. Here we go. Graham Grundy, 42, cleaning supervisor with the Ministry of Comfort. Cleaning supervisors require Class C exertive activity certification. I trust that your health rating is sufficient.
I did drop down a bit, but I'm back to Class A+ now.
Excellent, excellent. Very good. So, with that in mind, I will mark you as fit for work, barring any other issues. Now, obviously, your kudos level will have fluctuated due to your absence. You're a C+ right now. I note you used to be much higher.
B+.
I didn't spot a plus on the record. Must have been my mistake. Well, that is all I need to check off. But I'd be remiss if I didn't offer you all the extra support and guidance that you need.
Mentor?
When someone goes off-grid, there's usually some underlying trouble. And as a mentor, I like to think of myself as a bit of a troubleshooter.
Of course. I appreciate the concern.
So, let's get to the bottom of all this confusion. Dig a bit deeper, eh?
Deeper? Yes, right. By all means, Mentor.
Tell me about your workplace. I trust there are no issues.
The land train facility? It's a fine place to work.
I'm sure it is. Department of Land Trains and Extra-City Commerce. Wonderful.
Oh, yes. Couldn't be happier.
We are, of course, very grateful for your service, Mr. Grundy. But there we come to the crux of the matter. Your absence. 15 days is a long time. This is, of course, why my ministry has become involved in your case. We have been concerned for your well-being.
I'm fine. Better than ever, in fact.
Excellent. Now, speaking of your health, I note you had some surgery last year. Tell me about your implants. Are they working effectively? Cat got your tongue?
You mean my heart regulators? Nothing to worry about. As you can see, the beat goes on.
Yes. Well, I must say you're in remarkable shape considering your medical history. Of course, your mental well-being is just as important to us. How are you getting on with your rather peculiar hobbies?
You mean my photography?
I do, yes.
You can't beat the feeling of an old-time film camera.
I can imagine. You have an eye for composition. Although I don't understand your interest in using such archaic technology. Choosing to fiddle with knobs rather than availing of ministry-recommended filters, stabilization, automatic archive, and data retrieval, all courtesy of Minos. If we can't see what you create, how can we share in your interests?
What can I say? I like a challenge.
I'm sure you do, Graham. Ah, well. I have a busy day of appointments, so sadly we must conclude our little chat there.
It's been a pleasure, Mentor.
Hasn't it? So with that in mind, perhaps you can tell me where you've been for the last 2 weeks.
What? Right. Yes, where have I been the last 2 weeks?
Well?
Okay, so the last 2 weeks, I was working at the land train facility, of course. Cleaning. I'm a cleaning supervisor. And while I was cleaning, I must have bumped my head. The next thing I knew, I was in the middle of nowhere, still on the train. 2 weeks later, the train returned to the city. Cleaner than it's ever been, I might add.
My poor darling! How awful! What a dreadful thing to happen!
I believe I have all the answers I need from you.
Well, that's a relief.
I'm sure it is, Mr. Grundy.
Well, thank you for stopping by.
Just a teeny tiny thing before I go. There appears to be 1 or 2 anomalous results here.
Anomalous? That doesn't sound good.
It may be nothing. But here's the thing. I get strange readings when I scan your U-chip. Any idea why?
Maybe it got damaged when I fell.
Ah, yes. Of course. That's probably it. You see, the only other time I've seen anything like this is when a U-chip has been tampered with. No one would have done that now, would they?
Tampered with? I didn't even know that you could do that.
Graham's a supervisor, not a subversive mentor.
Yes, a supervisor, not a subversive.
Damaged when he fell. Request analysis. There. Perfect. I have everything I need.
Great. Chipbot will show you out.
Chipworth, darling.
Just my little joke. Chipworth.
Good day, Mr. and Mrs. Grundy.
I don't know who you are or what you've done with Graham, but I think we got away with that.
I hope so. I don't think that we would get away with it a second time.
Nor do I. If there is anything wrong with Graham's U-chip, you would better sort it out sharpish, before Alonso's analysis comes back. Who even are you? Where's Graham? Are you that contact he kept ranting about?
Whatever Graham had been up to, it had gotten him killed. I had to come clean with his wife. There's no easy way to say this, but I'm afraid Graham is dead.
What? How? Where?
I found him. In the Gap.
The Gap? What was the idiot doing in the Gap? Was that where he was always sneaking off to? Ugh!
A child, Milo, was abducted from a village out there and brought into Union City. And I think Graham was somehow connected.
Sure, and pigs fly. Listen, stranger. I'm sure you can understand this has been a rather harrowing day. This is all too much for me right now.
Tell me about it.
So, I'm gonna do some damage control on social media. In the meantime, I guess that officially it is your home, so you can stay, but this is my bedroom, and that one is yours. No cute ideas.
Understood. Songbird seemed rattled by the news. Not surprising. But whoever this contact of Graham's was, I suspected they were the key to finding Milo.
Excuse me, please. Master Graham, may I say, sir is looking even more fabulous than usual today. Has Master Graham lost weight? Oh, yes, sir. And it would appear sir has gained some height as well. As you always do, sir. Just say the word, sir. Very good, sir.
The mentor, Alonzo, seemed to be arguing with someone. The gang had a ferocious beak. I was lucky not to lose a finger. The gang had a ferocious beak. I was lucky not to lose a finger. Here you go. Whatever was in the box, Graham had clearly not wanted anyone to find it. Inside was a small glass lens. It had deep cuts scored across its surface. But that wasn't all. Tucked beneath was a photograph. A picture of a stalker. A child's face pressed against the window. Suddenly I realized that it wasn't just Milo. It was clear that multiple children were being taken into the city, and somehow Graham was connected to it.
Excuse me, please.
Hello, Chipworth.
Good afternoon, sir.
Songbird doesn't seem too upset about her husband.
And why would she be? The glorious Master Graham has returned to us.
Sounds like my wife didn't miss me all that much.
I'm confident Madame Songbird's affection was simply kept hidden, on the inside.
I'd like to hear more about Songbird.
May I suggest that Sir speaks with the lady directly? Or perhaps check her social media presence. That's how Madame has traditionally spoken to you.
My wife mentioned I had a contact. Any idea who that could be?
Perhaps you might ask her, sir. I fear I am not able to elaborate any further.
So, what do you do, Chipworth?
Whatever Sir desires.
Can you juggle?
Sadly, sir, one's capabilities are restricted to the minutiae of domestic service.
Shame.
We are what we are, sir.
At least as far as anyone else needs to know. Ah, how are you, Chipworth?
I am well, sir. Thank you for inquiring.
I need you to do something for me.
Just say the word, sir.
Never mind. Perhaps later.
Very good, sir.
What's this about a celebration tonight?
The Aspiration Day Gala. Madam Songbird is so looking forward to it. It has populated approximately 83% of our conversations. In fact, any time someone spoke of it, your heart rate would elevate and you would perspire, sir. Heavily.
Is that why Graham left?
Is Sir referring to himself? Or a friend also named Graham?
Do I have any friends?
None, sir.
Goodbye, Chipworth.
Have a very special day, sir.
I didn't think Songbird would appreciate me rummaging through her things. I poked at it, but I couldn't get it to turn on. A collection of toy animals were lined up in little baskets. One was missing. Dave Dingo. Carl Koala. Kevin Kangaroo. A Detective Culls. Someone liked their murder mysteries. Jasmine. Songbird, I'm sorry.
For what?
That your husband is dead.
Hey, win some, lose some.
That's pretty harsh.
Look, stranger. You told me your secret, so I'll tell you mine. Last few years, Graham gave up trying to be anything other than the dullard he really was. If it weren't for the kudos for being married, I'd have dumped him months ago. You're new here, so a word of advice? You want to win in Union City? Learn the rules and play the game.
My name's Foster, by the way. Robert Foster.
Songbird.
Is there anything more you can tell me about Graham?
Not much. He was a loner whose only friends were idiots like him.
Could Graham have had anything to do with kidnapping?
For both our sakes, I hope not.
Can I ask you about some missing children?
I'd rather you didn't.
What were you saying about kudos?
Were you born yesterday?
Let's just say I'm new here.
Okay, newbie. Here's how it works in Union City. Be a good example, stay happy, and you get kudos.
Which you spend?
Well, kinda, but not really. The higher your kudos level, the lower you are in the city. Simple.
So kudos is bad?
Aren't you listening? Lower. Lower is better.
So you need a higher kudos to get lower?
Of course. That industrial pit up there hovers over me like a storm cloud. And this middle level is simply beneath me.
I think I understand what you mean.
But the lower level, now they are my kind of people. They've got standards that you don't see enough of round here.
What's with the Alonso guy?
Guy, I believe you're referring to Mentor Alonso from the Ministry of Well-Being. He's a high-ranking official. And we've just lied straight to his face.
Quite the team, huh?
If he knew what's really going on, I dread to think how far my kudos would plummet.
And what about me?
Arrested, deported, I don't know, not important.
Looks like Graham was quite the photographer.
Oh, he was dreadful. At first I thought he was an artist. Then I found out he used those ridiculous antique cameras. It took hours to see the finished photographs. And he took forever fussing with the lighting. The only good thing about his photographs is that I'm in most of them.
What do you know about the council?
They run the city. You know, like they always have since Joey left.
Can I speak to them?
Not with Graham's ID, you can't.
You work for the Ministry of Comfort?
Sure do. It might not sound prestigious, but without us, the city falls down.
You don't seem the type to settle for a cleaning job.
Cleaning supervisor, thank you very much. And you'll find in Union City, it's not what you do, it's how you do it that counts.
How so?
You know, get the job done, don't get in trouble, keep a smile on your face, the usual.
Tell me more about Graham.
Why do you want to know?
I think he might have been involved in something.
What do you mean?
I came to Union City from the Gap because I was investigating a mysterious...
Oh, for Joey's sake, not you too. Blah, blah, conspiracy, blah, blah, giant dog. Graham was the perfect husband until he started getting crazy ideas. Why couldn't he just have an affair like a normal person?
Who's this contact you mentioned?
Bad news, as far as my kudos level is concerned.
What do you mean?
Graham was always rambling on about this hacker friend of his. Had a daft name. Leet, I think.
Any idea where I could find Leet?
Probably somewhere up top, with the other degenerates. If I were you, I'd stay away.
Are you a collector?
What?
Toys. You have quite the collection.
Oh, yes. The whole set of cuddly kiddies. Even the limited edition Mama Bear from 5 years back. Well, I did have the whole set, at least.
Did something happen?
Bartleby went missing, that's what. I asked Graham about it and he denied all knowledge. Then, when I tried to use the Mama Bear tracker to find dear Bartleby, he threw her across the room.
Clumsy.
Clumsy? Those bears were my engagement gift. He hid Bartleby just to spite me.
Graham had taken Songbird's toy Bilby, but I couldn't figure out what he'd have wanted with it. Wherever he'd gone, Graham clearly didn't want to be tracked. What does Bartley Bilby look like?
Bartleby is a Bilby. Adorable, long ears. Like a bandicoot and a rabbit all rolled into one. At least he was, before he went missing.
Did Leet believe in Graham's conspiracies?
Believe? Pretty sure he's where Graham got him from. Bad influence all round.
Graham was a conspiracy theorist?
Always was. But before he went missing, he really changed.
He became secretive. He used to close the terminal whenever I came into the room.
That's not that strange.
And he started spending a lot of time in the bathroom. And then he just disappeared.
Okay, that's the weird bit. What can you tell me about the Minister for Comfort?
The terminal has their details. Look there if you want to know more.
Is Alonso coming back here?
For both our sakes, I hope not. But I'm not risking it, so don't even think about doing anything stupid.
Nothing stupid? For how long?
Very amusing. Until my kudos is back on track, obviously. But for now, you are Graham.
How can I raise my kudos level?
With kudos, obviously.
So how do I get more kudos?
Well, isn't that just the question? Like I said, be happy, get points.
But how can you be happy when you've just found out your husband is dead?
You think I'm not sad on the inside? No one's gonna give me a medal for having a dead husband.
But
Let's talk about something else, eh? My points have already dipped way too much today, thanks to you.
what's a mama bear tracker?
What do you think? It tracks her babies.
Her babies?
The cuddly kiddies. Most toys in Union City are tracker-enabled. Lost toys mean screaming babies. Unless you got a tracker.
Mind if I have a look at the tracker?
Go ahead, though the screen is broken. Squeeze the left ear to turn it on.
Mind if I have a look at the tracker?
Go ahead, though the screen is broken. Squeeze the left ear to turn it on.
Bye, Songbird.
Yeah, bye.
It looked like Graham had taken Bartleby and didn't want it tracked. I had a hunch that he had taken it to Leet, but had no idea why.